Twitter handles.
Alrighty. Hi everyone, it's John here with another hangout with some of the top content marketing folks from Belew's forum. We've got, of course, Bill and this time Steve Cartwright. And so basically what we wanted to talk about this time was just what are some of the ways that we can create a content marketing machine that will just basically run nonstop. Because one of the biggest challenges I think with for folks who are looking to create content is I have folks different times ask me, like, how much can I write about, say, dog beds? Like, we still have to talk about dog beds, right, and stuff. And really, that's not the point. It's really about what is it that audience is interested in, because it's may not be different times a need to write about dog beds. It could be creating other kind of contents and everything. So that's Bill and Steve, some of their ideas at different times. Like, how do they come up with ideas for the content that they create? Bill?
Oh gosh, I thought Steve said. So how do we come? So how to automate or how to come up with ideas, or either one or both? We lost you.
Oh, John?
Yeah? There you are.
Go on, Bill. Answer the question.
Okay, the question was how to automate. And I'm a lousy automator. I see the benefit, and that's all part of the whole marketing spiel, is to be able to make the most of your efforts. Whoa, there's music.
Oh,
To be able to make the most of your efforts.
What you just saw is a man dunking a basketball. That man is me, Asher Price, a balding.
Okay.
Wow.
I've got the basketball game on. We got the Cleveland playing. They got LeBron against the Golden State Warriors. Nobody else on the Cleveland team showed up. So automation, I think automation doesn't work. Now,
Well, I mean, but just like even ideas themselves, though, like let's say you have a client they've got a website for doing, like their mattress store or something, or something like that. Like they have a very kind of product-oriented website, and then they kind of go, like there's only so much I can write about my products and everything. So how do you, how do you kind of help them to come up with content that will engage their audience?
Okay, now that's a good question. I can answer that question. So I do this old-fashioned whiteboard style. That shows you how old I am. Sometimes we do it on Excel spreadsheet, but if I can get in the same room with them, I'll get on a whiteboard, and I'll make 6 columns. And in the first column, I'll put the word demographic. Some people call this persona. I don't care what you call it. I'll say in the first column, let's make a list of everybody who buys a mattress from you. Who are they? Where are they? What kind of people are they? How old are they? What part of their life? What stage of their life do they come to buy it from you? All those things. Let's just make a list of all the different kinds of people who can buy a mattress from you. In the second column, I'm going to have them make a list of all the reasons why they would buy a mattress from you. The old one's worn out. They got a sore back. They're looking for a sleep number. I don't know. There's all number of reasons why people would come to the store and they say, I need a mattress. And okay, why do you need a mattress? Well, because this is going on in my life, or I'm having this problem. I need this. In the third column, I'm going to ask them to make a list of all the problems they have for why they cannot get a mattress, or why they haven't bought a mattress up until now. They thought they were too expensive. They think they're too big for the size of the room they live in. I don't know. I haven't bought a mattress in forever. My wife does that. But there's any number of reasons why people haven't been into the mattress store up until that point. They haven't saved up enough money or something. So in the first column, I got all the different people I serve. In the second column, I have all the different reasons why they want to buy a mattress. In the third column, I have all the different reasons why they have not bought the mattress yet. In the fourth column, I'm going to ask the mattress provider to list up all the ways that they can solve the problems for these different people. We could provide financing. We have a mattress just for you. We have a mattress for your daughter. We have a mattress for bunk beds. We have a mattress for whatever reason. So these
Right.
are all the solutions that you provide. And then the fifth column, I'm going to ask them to make a list of what happens to these people's lives. What are the results for having come into that room or having come into the store and bought a mattress from them? And so in the first column, I can have 10 different kinds of people who come shopping. I can have 10 different outcomes these people desire. In the second column, in the third column, I can have 10 different obstacles that they might face for not having been there up until that point or not making a decision right there, right now. In the fourth column, I can have 10 different solutions that mattress masters can provide. In other words, there are 10 different ways they can become a hero to that person who just walked in the store. Then the fifth column, I can have 10 different scenarios that's going to play out in this people's lives. They're going to sleep better. They're going to work better. They're going to have less health problems. Their daughter's not going to leave their springy bed and climb in with them in the morning and break up their sleep. I don't know. And then if I want to go, I can go into the sixth column and I can hyper-localize that. I can do it even in Perth, Australia. I don't think there's any reason why people would go to Perth, but I could hyper-localize. I could do Sunnyvale. I could do Palo Alto. I could do Cupertino. I can do Fremont. I can specialize the area because mattress. They're not going. People in the Bay Area aren't going to sell mattresses to Tampa Bay Area or Massachusetts Bay Area. So I have 10 people who have 10 desires, who have 10 obstacles with 10 solutions, and with 10 solutions, hero solutions, and 10 results that play out in 10 different locations. And with that kind of a matrix, I now have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 different variations of the very same story that I could tell over and over again. In every one of those scenarios, my client's the hero. It gets a little bit dry, gets a little bit redundant, and it might even sound boring, but there's a person sitting there thinking, I have a sore back. My daughter interrupts my sleep every morning. She needs a new mattress. And they're going to search something very specific like that. And if my client has dealt with that specific issue, they're going to have a very high credibility factor, and people are going to want to deal with that. That's how I do it.
Steve, how about yourself? Like, how do you come up with ideas for content for either your clients or yourself?
I didn't catch that, John, but I assume it's to me.
Oh, yeah, yes.
You're breaking up terrible here, John. You're breaking up terrible. But I obviously do something similar to what Bill does, but slightly better, obviously.
Yeah.
We do the buyer persona, target persona, best customer, whatever you want them. We do the problems. What 3 or more problems do we solve? What does success look like? Roadblocks. What's stopping them from purchasing? The purchasing cycle. What process does your best customer follow in exploring the options to purchase? What's their evaluation process? What's their decision-making process? If I want to go and buy a new mattress, I might go find one, but then I've got to go and ask the wife. So we have to bring the whole decision-making process into account. And I also like, on my personas, to know where they hang out online so that I know where I can best promote my content. And then once I've done that, there's obviously only 4 types of content, roughly. There's written, audio, video, and graphical. So you've got those 4 types, and then all we do then is we create content to answer all those questions. It's just easy, The purpose of content, what is it? It's to attract an audience, to educate an audience, to explore the pain points, and eventually offer a solution with your clients' products and services, coming out as the hero, as Bill would say, to explore the benefits of the offering, to demonstrate expertise. You've got to think content marketing is a long-term process, so the article you write today might have an influence in 6 months, 12 months' time.
And how do you decide on what types of content? Like, how do you, kind of figure out what is it that will really engage your particular audience?
What I do is I I write a lot of blog posts personally. I love blog posts because the search engines love them and they work really well.
Right.
And I measure my stats. I find out what's being shared, what people are talking about, what page views each page is getting, and then all I do is simply do more of what's working and less of what's not working. And I check my bounce rates, and as long as my bounce rates are coming down, I think my bounce rate at the moment is 20-something%, so it's quite good. So I'm quite happy. It's just following. It's just measuring your metrics. Once you know your numbers, you just follow the numbers.
So Steve just talked about the 4 kinds of content, and what he said: written, audio, video, and what was the other one?
Graphics, infographics.
So images, audio, video, and written. Well, there's another 4 kinds. So if you took, my matrix or Steve's matrix, and then you did it in audio form, now you got 10 times audio, 10 times 10 times video, 10 times info graphic, 10 times audio or podcast or video. So now you just multiply the different ways you can tell the same story just using different mediums. And now there's also another four kinds of content. And these are the 4 that I like to deal with. The first one is inspiration. Let's write stuff that inspires people. The second one is educational. Let's write stuff that educates people. The third one is let's write stuff that I lost my train. Entertains people. You've got inspiration, you've got education, and you've got entertainment. Let's write about the 26 different ways you can entertain yourself on a mattress. There's lots of things people can do. Let's put kids on there and let them bounce or whatever. So we've got entertaining, educating, inspiration, and then the 4th kind of content is leadership. How can I be a leader? How can I create such content that people will follow me from here to there? If I'm a mattress provider, let me identify with, let me explain in any one of Steve's 4 mediums how I am the leader, how I am the one person not to be followed. And so now I've got all these storylines that I can tell in 4 different ways: audio, visual, infographic, and now I can tell them for 4 different purposes, to accomplish 4 different ends. So suddenly I'm never going to run out of ideas of what things to write about.
Definitely. So once you start having these different ideas, then what do you find to be, like, how do you start basically making the most use of your time to kind of crank out the content? What is your process from that point on to kind of start writing or to start doing some of these different formats and stuff? What's the next step then?
I make somebody do it. I have a team of writers, and each of the writers have their own preferences. They have their own leanings, and more often than not, they're going to start with what they're comfortable with. Some people follow social networks, for example, and they look for silly videos, so they lean toward entertainment. Some people, they're just very serious about life, but they get kind of down, so they lean toward help me get motivated or whatever. And so I let my writers decide what they want to do. I also reach into my client and I say, hey Tom, where do you want to start? Because he has those things that he thinks are more important. He has that ranking factor in his own mindset. I'd like to start with people who have sleep apnea problems. I like to start with people who are overweight, or I like to start with he already knows who's responded to his message thus far, and so okay, let's go after that person. So the client's own gut feeling is a good place to start. My writers' inclinations for what's fun for them to write about is a good place to start as well.
What's your next in your process?
Let me go back a little bit and talk about. I'm still content ideas first. I also like to speak to customers, survey customers, find out what customers actually want, as well as I get a lot of ideas from meetups. Bill runs meetups. He's got millions of them. He has. I've got just a few, but meetups are a great place to interact with people and find out what is interesting to them. It's just amazing. You'll get asked You know, you go and present at a meetup, someone will come up and ask you a question, and you think, that's an idea for a blog post, that's an idea for this. And it works really well. Go speak to sales teams. Anyone in customer service has got 1,000,001 questions they're asked every day. They're all ideas for blog posts. Really good blog posts.
Yeah, the closer you get to your ideal customer or client, the more you're going to actually act what it is that they really want to know, of course.
Absolutely. All you're trying to do, you see, is educate your client, educate the end reader, and answer their concerns. It's all it is, and then you automatically build authority for yourself or the company, and hey presto, when that person's ready to purchase, you'll be at the forefront of their thoughts, as long as you keep touching them and touching them. So as long as you keep blogging and stuff like that, you'll generate sales eventually, visitors, sales, subscriptions. You have to know the purpose of your content. What is the purpose of your content? You can't start writing content till you know what it is. Is it to gain subscribers to your email list? Is it to build authority for the company? You have to have a purpose for it, a call to action, whatever you want to call it. You have to have some defined purpose for your content. And I use a little plugin called Editorial Calendar, and I use that extensively. As soon as I've got a idea for a blog post, I just go in there, boom, draft, schedule a title, and I've got 50, 60, 70 title ideas constantly in there, because as soon as I've got one, I add it in there, and then I know that I've got an idea to write, if that makes sense. And if you blog regularly, the pressure becomes to constantly come up with ideas. But if you just listen, there's no pressure there at all, because you just write your ideas down, and you've always got more ideas than you can actually write content for. I could write content, you know.
No, I'd like to echo Steve's sentiment on listening. One of the very easy things to do, and I find it fun for that matter, is to put your topic or your client's topic or whatever, put it in a news alert. Right? And so whenever you know, get a Google news alert or CNN news alert, whatever news alert, and whenever that topic pops up in the news, write about it. And so, and gosh, I mean, your mailbox gets overwhelmed with news alerts. You know, another fun thing to do is, okay, if I were going to buy Obama, I don't know, a mattress, what kind of mattress would I get him? So let's just pick people in the news and relate them to whatever it is my topic, whatever my topic's got to do with. You know, I have a buddy here. He looks a whole lot like Steve from the eyebrows up. Right? I mean, he's as bald as a now he looks nothing like Steve. So his name is Tyler. Tyler has the largest forum in the world devoted to head shavers, and it's called Sly Bald Guys. I don't mind pitching it, Sly Bald Guys. And so Tyler, he was just sitting there minding his business, watching television one night. He had his forum. He was just kind of struggling along, or just kind of plowing along, and then up on the news, Britney Spears shaved her head. You know, all this, Britney Spears shaved her head. So he was watching news on it, so he sat down, he pounded out a blog real quickly about Britney Spears shaving her head, put that up on his website, boom, and that launched his forum. And from there on, he just had 10, I mean, he's had 38 million or 138 million, I had some ridiculously 7, 8, 9 figures of attendees, but just because he had a news alert on, and was a little bit sensitive, what's going on here, and what does that have to do with what's going on in my world? And he made the connection, put it up there, and off he went. So, you know, Steve has a, you know, I don't want to blow too much smoke up his, but he's pretty arrogant as it is. I mean, with all the attention and all that. But listening is a tremendous way, you know, to come up with ideas. My problem is not what am I going to write about next, but where do I start? What should I do now? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start, you know. I get too many ideas. I get paralyzed with ideas, to be honest. And then I don't do anything. That was easier.
Steve, do you have some kind of process for deciding once you have all these ideas, where do you start?
I tend to write where my passion is, to be honest. The topics I'm more passionate about, I'll process. But we try to target them to the different stages of the buying cycle, obviously. I know if I write a certain type of article, I'll generate inquiries when it goes out in my newsletter, for instance. But right, another type, I'll get more subscribers onto my newsletter. So I try and mix it up as much as I can. But at the moment, content marketing type articles seem to be the most popular on my own personal blog. They are far outperforming everything else at the moment, because I dare say that people are hungry to learn how to do it properly. And the way to really learn to do it properly is to actually do it, get involved and do it. Most people will sit and talk about it but not do anything. And after this magical answer that never comes, does it, Bill, that magical answer?
No, it doesn't. I was watching that thread and it never did come. And so back to the content ideas, John, I've got a post that's probably going to come out tomorrow or maybe the next day. I send it off to my virtual assistant. It is so much fun to write stuff and send it to her, and then she formats it and publishes it. I don't have to think about it anymore, unless I'm in a hurry. But I'm looking at the article on my desktop here. I've already sent it to her. It's Google's 22-point definition of quality content. So these are the 22 things that Google consider in their definition of what quality content looks like. All right, so I got these 22 points. I'll give you the first one. It's useful is number one. It's got to be useful. Okay, we get that. Number two, it's got to be informative. Number three, it should be transparent. 4, it should be valuable, and so on and so on. So for each one of these 22 points, I could write a post about mattresses, right? And so I could go on. I could just take off. And now I've got 22 different ideas for a series. I have a website devoted to speaking, so I could write a series on 22 ways to get quality in your presentation, right? So I could write how to make your presentation useful, how to make your presentation informative, how to be more transparent when you give presentations, how to become more credible when you're a speaker, and on and on and on. So I love to look for lists that people create about whatever their topic is. And then, dang it, there's got to be a way to apply this to my topic as well, or to my client's topic. And Frank, I can't imagine why anybody would ever run out of ideas.
No,
awesome.
You should never.
Well, sorry.
I was just going to say, go look at what other people are doing in your industry. Use your competitors. Look what they're doing. Look what you can do better. There's so much. You could be like Steve. You could just pick a fight. See what everybody else is doing and pick a fight. Yeah. Go look at what somebody else is doing in your industry. I like going looking at what other people are talking about and offering us courses, workshops, and all sorts. And I'll just go and write an article about it. If someone's selling that information, it's obviously of value to a lot of people. So I'll just go and write about it. Works really well. Doesn't make you lots of friends, mind, but it works really well for your audience.
Well, there's no law against being contrary just for the sake of being contrary. We have general patent said if everybody in the room's thinking the same thing, then somebody's not thinking. And so if there are 6 people and they're always saying this should be this should be this should be this should be, I'm going to get on to it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be that way. And also, it doesn't mean that's what I think. It doesn't mean that's the way I do things. I say, but there's another way to look at this. What do you guys got to say about that? So creating this kind of a discussion online, that's a really fun way to do it. It makes a lot of enemies, but you can't make enough enemies doing this.
No.
This kind of attention is good attention unless everybody calls you an idiot, and they've done that to me, and I'm still alive.
Yeah, I can echo that.
Okay, let's go back to the the 5 W's and the 8: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Just tell me who are the most valued people in your industry. Give me a list of the top 10 people in your industry. Tell me who they are, and just tell me who they are and what they do. Okay. Now let's go back and tell me why you think they are. Now let's go back and tell me when in history did they give me a specific instance when they made a difference in your life. Tell me why I should pay attention to those people. Write a series of articles on those 10 people that made that difference in your life. And then let's go how. Don't tell me, oh, Seth Godin is whatever. I don't care. Tell me how he did it. Give me a specific instance of some advice he gave you, and then how you applied that to your life, and now how that showed out different in your life. And so, and then let's do that over and over again for all these different people who have had some influence in your life. And you find out, well, now what do? I don't know where to start. Give me a break here. now my people say, okay, Bill, enough with the ideas. Just tell me where to start. And I don't have a trouble coming with ideas. I hope I'm not talking too much here, John.
No problem. The thing I think for me is different times, like we've kind of talked a little bit about, is identifying what's the priority. Where do you kind of start is that thing and stuff. And I think like looking at what topics attract you, as Steve says, is definitely one good way to do it. Certainly, if something is interesting to us, and ideally, that's our connection to the audience and stuff. If it's interesting to us, ideally, it's interesting to the audience as well. I think the other aspect, as you were saying, Bill, is like just having that personal connection. I think is really key. If you're talking about something that's like something you experience yourself, or your customer that you work with experience stuff, that personal connection really helps the reader or the viewer to kind of.
We lost you, John.
So, Kat, can you hear me?
Now we got you. Okay. Sounds like you were speaking Australian.
I was going to say that.
Underwater American.
That's right.
I was going to say that one of the things also that really engages people is that save the cat element of like kind of, again, creating that moment, like in movies, it's that moment where the audience identifies with the hero, and that's like what really, from then on, they care about the story. Then they have more at stake in the outcome and stuff. If you create that connection with your audience with what you write or the content you create, that save that cat element is also key to basically where it's not just stuff that they're maybe they're interested in it, but creating that connection with your audience is really, powerful, I think, to where then they're engaged. They, different times, that's how you strike up conversations. It's just, and ideally you keep them coming back for more.
Okay, well, I'd like to go back to the where to start thing, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, and here's what I like to tell people who are just getting started out. It doesn't matter where you start. For the first 400 articles, nobody's reading anyway, because you're just crawling along in the sandbox, and so what you want to do for the first 400 articles, or 300 or 500, until you climb out of that sandbox, just establish yourself as a highly credible source of information in your topic. Talk about the experts. Review conferences. Answer the same questions everybody else is answering. Why do I want to do that? Because I have not heard you answer the question yet. Everybody wants to start off writing their very best stuff, and nobody's going to read it. It's just going to get buried. So let's establish ourselves as a go-to person, or a go-to place where I've done my research, I've done my due diligence, I've dealt with all the hard stuff. I've dealt, I'm giving you my perspective on the way things are dealt in my industry. And then after you've done that for about 4 months, you've got 400 articles or whatever, and you've been around it for 4 months, then you do like Steve said, you get into your analytics, and you'll find out what people are interested in, and then you write more of that. Everybody wants to write their 10 best articles in the first week, and then they run out of stuff to say. And I said, dude, you got this like backwards. First of all, I don't care what you say until you give me a reason to care. So just answer all the simple questions. Do simple things first, and then I'll ask you what you think about hard stuff. So start by answering easy questions. Answer a lot of the easy questions. Answer them well. Show me that you know how to do these answers. Show me that you know where the right conferences I should attend are. Show me that you know where I should go buy mattresses. And when you've earned my respect by pounding on these topics day after day after day for several months, then I will care about your expert opinion. So that's where I tell people to start. It doesn't matter in the beginning because nobody's reading anyway. The only people reading in the beginning, you and your search engines. And then when you start writing high quality, deep, long, well thought out articles, people are going to say, I wonder if he's ever talked about this before. I wonder if she's ever dealt with these basic things. Then you've got that archive. You've got that deep well. Look, I've spent my time in the sandbox. I've earned my right to be listened to. First, earn your right to be listened to, and then write your really good stuff. That's what I think. You want to know what I really think? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I think the other part about that is then you have the content to use, as Steve talked about last week, of where you're rebroadcasting it and you're kind of sending it to different times a day. You know, like if you don't have that body of content, then you can't really do that because otherwise you're just going to be you reusing the article,
Exactly.
hundreds of times and stuff, versus having a rotation that's interesting and also complex enough that, or not necessarily complex, but diverse enough that then it's engaging from that perspective.
Well, if you've done your homework, Steve, you better jump in, otherwise I'm going to keep talking. If you've done your homework and you've answered all these questions, then when you get into the deep, long-form posts that you want to write from sometimes, you have something to link back to. You can start you can build that internal link structure, like Wikipedia did. Look how much stuff Wikipedia wrote before they could start writing good stuff.
Mm.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your own tight network on your client's site or on your personal topic. Say, listen, I've dealt with everything that needs to be dealt with here. Now I've earned the right for you to listen to me in other regards. First, do the easy stuff.
Yeah, you got to put the homework in, basically.
Yep.
Put the homework in, the rest comes afterwards. No one's going to listen to you until you've done your homework. Your homework's 400
Yep.
posts.
And see,
I think my website's got 800 odd posts on my website now, and I'm only just starting to get listened to properly. Takes that long.
Stop talking. It's my turn. When you've got 800 articles in your archives like Steve does, then you can go to twittering and automating because you have something to automate. Otherwise, you're just automating the same 20 articles over and over again. Nobody cares. So Steve's earned the right to start publishing or publicizing, or I don't know what your media, there's got to be a word for it. He can start automating his archives because he's got enough turnover to make it worthwhile. Right. If you have nothing to automate, if you haven't done your homework, you can't automate because you'll sound like a broken record.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, Steve. Now you can do that.
I can talk. Oh, okay. Get back on topic. You don't have to block yourself all the time either. Or, you can get guest bloggers to come in. I'm constantly bombarded with people wanting to write guest posts for me. I've never accepted one yet, but I'm constantly bombarded.
So do you have guest posts on your blog, Steve?
No, I've kept it purely my posts.
Interesting.
Everything.
Okay.
No, that's just a personal choice.
Right.
A lot of other people, I encourage guest posts because it gives you a day off, if nothing else, every so often.
I mean, really, like, the forum that Bill's created is really just full of guest posts. I mean, that's really what it is when you look at it. Like, it's Bill kind of different times initiates conversations, but we're all guest posting on there. We're just
think of it more like audience-generated content. That's just another form of it. Go and interview people. I did that one on LinkedIn, if you remember. Go interview people. It generates lots and lots of content, and it also raises your profile. Google Hangout. Go interview some people in your niche that you want to raise your game up to.
Right.
It's just the way it works. It's very, very easy.
Yeah, I mean, like Hangout technology. As we talked about the very first Hangout that we all did together, it was, for me, it's been great for just generating content because it's really easy just to pick somebody, like you said, interview them, and then you have a YouTube video. You can easily create that into cut it up into different videos, and then on top of that, you can easily take off the audio, and then you have I posted right now to SoundCloud. In the future, I plan to start doing podcasts. So that's a very easy transition there. And then as we've talked about a little bit on the forum, you can possibly even get a transcribed, and then now you have text format, and you can do PDFs, ebooks, on and on. So just again from one interview on a Hangout, it's all different types of content.
Yeah. You've also got your opinion changes over time. as you learn more. The more you write about a subject, the more expertise you actually get on that subject. So your opinion changes. So you can go back over old posts and just add new comments or rewrite them. And there's all sorts. You never run out of ideas for content. Never at all. You focus on small little things. You can write a massive article on a small little thing. You know, a bit of bed bug in a mattress. How best to deal with it. You can write a book on that. You know, why our mattress the best, defense against bed bugs. You know, write an article about it. This is our research.
Right.
Boom.
Really quickly, recognize that we had a couple folks join us. Jenny, I guess I'm having problems getting her back on. There's a little background noise I put on mute, but for some reason it's not switching off again. And then we had Rev Stephen here joined us as well. Right now we're just talking about some different ways to generate content and how you basically go from idea to start creating the different type of content. I guess, maybe that's a good question for you. As well, the process of coming up with ideas and converting it to content that you put for your blogs and for
you're breaking up for me quite a bit there, John. I don't know if it's my line or if you're breaking up for everybody, but let me jump in if I can. I was listening to quite a bit about what was being said there and just trying to pick up on the thread that was going here. I did a live presentation, a live virtual presentation last Tuesday. I was here in my office doing basically a hangout, but it was a different type of software, with a group of people, part of a marketing group. And that entire presentation, a lead-in section, my presentation, and then a Q&A at the end, was all recorded, and the recording was sent to me. I cut out a 22-minute piece of my presentation, which was absolutely perfect to use as content on a website that I have with another group of people. So, it was two birds with one stone. It was quite good.
Absolutely. So, in terms of the topic itself, was it just something that came out of discussions, or how did the topics come about?
Well, the topic was scheduled. It was inbound marketing, which is an area that I'm quite interested, to work with, and I apply in my own business. And there had been some discussion in this marketing group about it, and the leader of the group, the organizer, knew that was a pet topic of mine, so she invited me to speak.
Jesse wants you to come get me.
Oh, okay.
And that's basically just you were looking to kind of from there transition to some other kind of similar topics, or I guess that's the other thing too. It's
John, you're gone.
All right, Rev, just keep talking.
Okay. Well, I think where John is going with this, the reason I repurposed it and cut the piece out is I'm working with a group of people in my Noboxetol program, and we happen to be just working with an area where they were keenly interested in marketing, different aspects of marketing. And I was able to take out a 22-minute section from the middle of this presentation and purpose it as an experience for them to see about inbound marketing. So my longer presentation, along with the lead-in by the group organizer and the Q&A at the end with a number of people involved, it really actually became a discussion at the end. All of that was in the one video, and it was too specific to that group. But that 22 minutes that I was able to cut out of the center was able to be reused ideally for my other group. So I think that's that's an easy step, taking just a piece of the whole. But then you can, of course, go further. You can take the transcript, you can take the audio. There's so many other things that can be done. I often, when I put something on a web page like that, I'll have the video, then I'll put the audio separate as an MP3, and then I'll put the transcript, because some people like to read rather than listen or watch. And some people who like to read like to hear the voice when they're reading, but they find the video to be distracting. So by putting all three on the same page, you satisfy anybody's learning style.
Idea is just simply, presenting each of the formats, and then the people can basically pick and choose how they want to take your content. I think that's a great idea. I actually started doing as well. It's just basically posting the video, I upload to SoundCloud and stuff. The blog itself has the text, so
And you can make the text available for download as a PDF or as a Mobi file that they can pop onto their Kindle. Then they can take the the text with them when they go too. So there's, in the same location, you can use multiple formats as well as spreading those multiple formats into other locations.
Right. And in terms of coming up with topics that you discuss, how do?
All right, where do you get your ideas from?
I never have trouble getting topics. I'm a storyteller, so I listen to people. I hear little bits and pieces. People like me around at a dinner table because I tell jokes. And if you ask me right now to tell you 3 jokes in a row, I couldn't do it. But I can tell jokes all night as long as people are talking, because things they say will trigger my repository of jokes, and I can pull out something that fits to what they're saying. Well, the same with material for blog posts. If I'm reading email, if I'm listening to, just sitting here now, I've got a pen in my hand here, and I've got a notepad or a book beside me, and as we're talking, I jot things down. Little things you'll say will key something, whether it's a memory or whether it makes me think about something that I want to research. And I get a list. By the time we're done tonight, I'll have a list of 15 or 20 topics, any one of which could become a blog or a video or a presentation.
Right. Actually, one of the tools that you recommended, I've started using it. It's been great. Workflowy.com.
Yes.
And I really love it because of how you can easily just move different points for ideas. And I use other tools like Evernote and Scrivener and stuff, but Workflowy, what I really like is for just simply jotting down these ideas that come up and stuff, and I can prioritize it into like different categories for blogs or for like work or just or different.
It's a better mind map. It's like a mind map, only it works. It allows you to move things around far more easily. I've used mind maps before and sort of wondered what's the big deal about mind maps. But Workflowy is dynamite.
I do still actually use what's called mind maps for. I have
Keep talking, Reb.
Somebody else take a turn.
So what I want to know is if you and Steve can get together. Steve's kind of lacking in one area, and you kind of got an abundance in the other. Isn't there like a map that could be made there?
I have to shave my head every day.
So on Rev's point, he always comes up with a different idea. Now it doesn't matter what I wrote yesterday. If I can't think of anything, which never happens, I could write about the same thing I wrote about yesterday, except I'd put it in a different country. What if I were in Japan now? How would I do? What if I were in China? How would this play out? What if I were in Singapore? How would that play out? And I've been around the world enough times that I can take any idea I have and just change the location of that idea and write about it again.
But you have to keep your focus. Don't forget that.
Of course. We're going to keep our focus. We're just going to give it a different context.
Absolutely.
I just wrote a blog post that I wrote it 2 days ago, but it published earlier today automatically on focus. So I can't copy that one
I saw that.
because I already used it.
We all talk about the same things. We just put our own opinion. That's the secret. Even if you're going to curate content, share your opinion. That's what makes it unique. You don't share your opinion, you're just getting boring content.
I think what's also thing is you can talk about the same topic and talk about it some way. And
John, we can't hear you. What are you saying? Can we have that translated, please?
I think he must be on dial-up.
I've just texted John in the chat function to let him know that. So it looks like we get to keep on haggling here.
Yeah.
So Rev, how many words have you written in your life?
I couldn't begin to tell you. I've got 5 novels that 3 of them are finished, 2 of them are underway, and they're all works in progress. The finished ones have to be rewritten. Back in when was it? 89? When did the Berlin Wall come down?
1989, November 89.
Yeah, well, in September of 89, then I was in a high school class. I was filling in as a substitute teacher.
Well, I thought you were still in high school.
No. And hang on, I'll come back to this just a sec.
Maybe as a teacher.
Yeah, so 1989, I wasn't in high school either. I was in Russia when the Berlin Walls came down. It might have been my fault. It's a pretty long story. I'll tell that someday. I was in Moscow. I had a debate with the professor of communism at the Moscow High Party School or something like that. And about 2 weeks after I had that debate with him is when the walls came down.
Completely different career for me then. Oh.
You know what I think? I think John fell off here, and nobody's recording this anymore. So.
I'm still here.
There he is.
I just turned off the my pictures, so then way hopefully cut down a little bit on the film requirement. So the audio hopefully is coming in clearer.
No, that's not really helping you. You got a terrible echo going on there, and then we get like every 4th word, every other word, and then a little echo and bounce off the wall. But I think we pretty much beat this subject to death anyway. It's almost been an hour.
I'm back. Sorry about that, folks.
Not at all.
Yeah, I was saying about 1989. I was in a classroom teaching in September, and there was an exchange student there from Germany. And we were talking about different things, and I was saying that the wall was going to come down, and she said, "Oh no, it'll never come down." And of course, nobody knew about it at that time. But I was writing my novel, and in my novel, the wall comes down, and the reason that was germane to the novel, and I was predicting it in my writing and my research. The novel's, it's pure fiction, but I anticipated that. Anyway, that particular one I have to change now and anticipate something else. The second time that I rewrote it for publication, I anticipated a black president coming after George Bush. I didn't know who George Bush was at the time because it was previous. It was when Clinton was in power, but I had whoever was the president after Clinton would have a black president after him. Now I have to redo it, and I don't have enough time to put a woman president in, so I got to do something else. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Could you please write about this guy in Silicon Valley who's going to make $10 million in the next year or so?
Yeah, his name's John, I think.
No.
I got you there, Bill. I got you.
All right, and please hurry up because I'm getting old and I want to get it before it's too late. All right, John, I think we pretty much beat this to death. Are you pretty happy with this, or?
All right, good. Joining us again. Sorry about the last-minute issues with the bandwidth, it looks like. Hopefully the audio is coming in a little bit better, but we're just going to call it a wrap here.
No, now
Can
you
you hear
sound
me
really...
okay? Or is it coming in better? Or?
Yeah,
Yes.
that last bit was really good. Is the only part I heard without any twang in it.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to say thanks for,
All
There you
right,
go
John,
again.
we'll see you later. Thanks for joining us.
You've gone again, John. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
The next time, okay, then have a great week. Sorry about the. Alrighty, we're gonna call it a day. Thanks.